Boston Pharmaceuticals, a clinical-stage biotech focused on first-in-class therapies for metabolic and fibrotic diseases, recently announced the completion of its transaction with GSK, which saw the latter acquire efimosfermin, a late-stage therapeutic candidate for the treatment of liver disease. As part of this transaction, GSK paid $1.2 billion upfront and up to an additional $800 million tied to development and commercial milestones. And the terms are quite lucrative given the size of the addressable market for efimosfermin, which we estimate to be in the multi-billion-dollar range. Specifically, GSK acquired the legal entity holding the rights to efimosfermin and related technology, and according to the press release, this included all clinical and preclinical assets, as well as manufacturing processes and related personnel. In our view, the primary value drivers in this transaction were the high efficacy observed in mid-stage clinical trials where nearly half of patients showed improvement in fibrosis and over two-thirds achieved MASH resolution without disease progression. And efimosfermin also demonstrated a favorable safety profile with minimal discontinuations and low gastrointestinal adverse events. This deal also likely reflects the large and growing population of patients suffering from MASH, a severe stage of liver disease associated with metabolic dysfunction. Prevalence of obesity and metabolic syndrome continues to rise, driving an increase in liver disease globally. And the convenience of efimosfermin as proposed dosing regimen coupled with its dual anti-inflammatory and anti-fibrotic mechanism positions it among the most competitive contenders for regulatory approval and ultimate market leadership. With this lucrative transaction now complete, we estimate that Boston Pharmaceuticals could be worth between $500 million and $700 million pre-IPO. More specifically, we see value in the company being driven by the strong mid-stage data for efimosfermin, its dosing advantage compared to other therapies in development, and the large and growing prevalence of metabolic-associated fatty liver disease. Key sensitivity factors include final phase 3 outcomes, specifically around the consistency of efficacy and long-term safety, as well as the competitive landscape and ultimate market timing for efimosfermin. Other considerations include the regulatory path for efimosfermin and whether the FDA grants the therapy a streamlined review given its potential for improving liver function and preventing disease progression. We also see value being driven by the degree of market adoption and physician confidence in prescribing efimosfermin, as well as payer support for the therapy. Assuming a successful IPO, the proceeds from this transaction will provide Boston Pharmaceuticals with strong liquidity to advance its lead asset into the clinic and fund research and development for other internal candidates. In fact, with the monetization of its lead asset, we believe that Boston Pharmaceuticals can afford to be patient and wait for market conditions to improve before going public. Specifically, if the company advances at least one additional asset into mid-stage development, we see it being able to command a valuation of $500 million to $700 million. Timing for a successful IPO appears favorable within the next 6 to 12 months as public investor interest in clinical-stage biotech has shown renewed strength. In conclusion, the successful exit of efimosfermin strengthens Boston Pharmaceuticals' financial position and credibility. The company now stands in a strong position to transition to the public markets, provided it advances other assets and communicates a clear vision. A focused IPO strategy combined with strategic clinical and financial execution can deliver a smooth entry into public capital markets and establish Boston Pharmaceuticals as a scalable clinical stage innovator. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content. Disclaimer: this video is for informational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice.